you've got your selector here, so when you, which is a shaft that goes through here to this side, like that. That's where you probably recognise that end. It does this. So when you're selecting first, that's first, and then when you get into second and then jumps back, goes into second, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth. And you go back down the cogs, back into first, and then neutral. Keep it on record. Is it still recording, yeah?
Yeah, but you got less than 5% battery.
Oh yeah.
To add to talk.
Yeah. That'll do, babe. So then, the little thing that I was turning, that's the oil pump, which is a cog. That's what I was turning. And without the gears falling out. That little funny little box there, that's what I was turning. And what was happening is, it was moving forks. So there's your forks. So when you turn it, see that? It moves the forks over. So you got one fork down here, which is the input, and this is the output shaft. So output shaft, input shaft, clutch, input shaft, and this is where your cog goes for the chain. So crank is here, there's your crank bearings, then you've got a big cog here, then you've got a cog behind the clutch basket with a little cog that turns the oil pump, then you've got a shaft in there which turns the water pump, which is here. So there's quite a lot going on when you're riding. I don't know what BMW are like, probably similar, but yeah. So when you're just like knocking it up and down, all that shit is going on in there. Bonkers, man. Okay, so I've ended up replacing the fourth and third on the output shaft now. So now it's pretty much, it's like a brand new gearbox now. So I've cleaned all the meeting points. You can only apply the sealant to certain areas. New copper washers is required for the the comrod area. The journal bolt, there's 10 of them, so 10 washers, and also these are called sealing washers, which come up underneath here to hold the gearbox in position. So I've got all the mechanism. I've had the two put together, and I've gone through the gears, and it goes third and obviously up to sixth. Feels all nice, no tight feelings. So so I'm about to put my silicone on, and apparently you've got to spread it on as well, not just leave it all lumpy. So it's got to be evenly spread according to the manual, and obviously tightening sequence. And also I've got the torque settings, which is, mine's the D model, so 39 Newton meters for here, and you start here, and you basically start with the bigger bolts and work your way down to the littler bolts, and obviously the torque settings right the way through the whole case. That's what it says in the manual anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this together now, and start the assembly of the engine basically. And while I've got it all out, I'm going to do the shims, or at least check them if they need doing. I have to take the cams out and do them, because it's a bigger job when it's in the bike, so I might as well do that. And there's obviously the spark plugs, so while the engine's out, nice and easy. Right, see you soon. Okay, so I've got all my starter on, some pickup on inside, water, oil cooler, various pipes and hoses, starter motor gearing, check the valve clearances on the wall within the tolerance, which is good, so I didn't have to take the cams out and mess about with shims, which I'm really happy about. That saved me a lot of time. I've got the oil pump on, the cog, sorry, Loctite, everything that was Loctite before. I did this little tension here for the gear selector. There was a little washer missing, and when I tightened it on it was stuck in a position, so I had to have a good look around, and look at it on the spare engine I still had the washer. So just bear that in mind, because without that washer it will work itself loose, or it'll be too tight and your gears won't select very well. I've tested all the gears right up until from the 1st till 6th. You have to spin this quite fast, because obviously the 5th gearing has got them bearings that need to be central force gravity out to allow that gear to move over. So if you are ever in a position where you're doing this, do not stress that you cannot get it in, that certain gears won't work. You need to spin this fast enough and have lots of patience, and eventually it will work. It's quite nerve-wracking doing all this, because it's still in the back of your mind, is it going to work? So everything's torqued up. Just at the basket now and the clutch assembly, so I'm going to throw all that in here, and then it's all ready. I've put all new gaskets on as well, new gaskets, new sunk gaskets, new starter gearing gasket, new gasket for even the clutch cover. Whatever I've done, there it is over there. So as you can see, that table where I put everything on that table is nearly all gone. So apart from the clutch over there, I put that over there in case the table got knocked, so the clutch basket and the clutch went over there in the exact position it came out of. So I want it all to go back in, so I didn't want to leave that on the table. But you know, if you keep an area where everything is, and I mean everything, how I lost that washer I don't know, but obviously on dismantling, it's obviously, I took it off and it's dropped on the floor somewhere. So when you're taking these sort of things apart, always have an area where you can pull it all, and that way when it all goes back together, even these silly little things, now see, I don't remember that where that goes, but obviously at some point putting the bike together, do you know what, I just remembered the thing, something to do with the lambda sensor, I'm sure. Now I've just seen that there, so I think that goes underneath the engine somewhere, and then see that, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so some certain things you can't remember, so you're gonna have to like reverse, you know, take a bolt out and fit things. But that's the only thing I can, you know, that I've got left over, apart from obviously what I'm about to do now. So yeah, it took me a good half a day to get this right, but I wanted it right, so I've took my time with it. There's no rush. Yeah, and obviously I'm doing this bodybuilding, as I mentioned, so I'm in a massive calorie deficit, so I feel like poo at the minute. So I'm not at my full capacity, so I'm a little bit gutted I couldn't get the spark plugs, and I forgot to order them. So now I'm in a position now where if I put this basket in and the clutch, I mean the spark plugs looked okay, and I give them a good clean. I just, do you know what I mean? I'm going to end up changing them, aren't I, at some point in the future, in the bike, with the engine in the bike. And I do believe it's a bit of a nightmare. It's a bit tight on number 4, number 1 and number 4, whichever way around it is. I'm too tired to think. So apparently it's tight and you have to, like, you know, get in there and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's running fine, and I'm just one of them people that when I'm doing something, I replace it. So I've done all these gaskets, gasket there, gasket here. So you know, it's pretty much, apart from the crank and piston and rods, it's had a pretty much of a, you know, overall rebuild. It's had a good service, good engine now. So, you know, like I said, done the valve clearances, haven't done the spark plugs. I thought Demon Twigs were open all day on a Saturday, but clearly they weren't, because when I tried to call them, they were closed. Went to Whole Foods and clearly they didn't have them. They had everything else but the ones I wanted. So yeah, I mean, I could just put this together and then leave it till next weekend. Just be patient. Don't know. For the sake of spark plugs though. Do you know what I mean? That's so frustrating. So I might just, I don't know, see how I feel. I've got half a day tomorrow to mess around with it as well, so yeah, right, I'm going to crack on, get this in. See you soon. Okay, so I've got the engine on my little thing I bought from eBay. I think it was about 39 quid. So I've got some packers, bit of timber. It's a scissor jack for motocross really. So you put it in the middle of the motocross, you lift up the bike. It's sort of like a little mini lift. So I thought it'd be perfect for my engine lift, because trying to lift an engine in one of these would be on your own bit of a challenge, and I got it out with a single jack and it was a nightmare down there, a little orange thing. It was just like pivoting on itself and all sorts. So now that I've got it nice and somewhere near the position that I want it, I just scissoring it up into position and put the engine mounts on and connect all my cables and pipes. It's quite an exciting stage actually, to be honest, seeing something going back together, because like I said at the beginning of my videos, it was hard to strip down a bike that was so clean. So so yes, I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get this together, and hopefully, given the nice weather that we're having, might even get it out, because I've taxed and insured it. It's got MOT, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes. I need to go and get some oil and filter. Can't get spark plugs, so that's gonna have to be done while the engine's in place. But I'm not gonna hold the whole job up with my free day today that I've got. I don't fancy holding the job up just because of spark plugs, for the sake of doing them while that's in the bike. They don't even need doing anyway, so it's just me being me, to be honest. Just the way I am. It's what I do. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting this engine back in. Okay, so engine's in, battery's connected. I've filled up the water levels to somewhat where they need to be. Oil filter, original spark plugs, but they don't need changing anyway, so I will change them when I finally get round to ordering them. Yeah, so start up. I've not put the fairing on yet, or the seat, or the tank, just in case we have starting issues. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest. The loom isn't that big. There's not a lot going to the engine, so I've had a good look underneath, and there's no leaks so far. It's always a nerve-wracking bit now, isn't it, this bit? It's starting it up. The only thing I hate about this sort of stuff is it's had an engine rebuild-ish in a way, because I've split the casing. I've had the oil pump out. Water pump's been out. Not too fussed about the water too much. It's the oil. I hate messing with oil pumps. And obviously with the gearing as well on these, the oil pump actually, it's got oil galleries in the casing. So the oil, I can show you actually. So the oil, so this is the bottom half of the casing, bottom half of the engine. There's the top half. So you've got the oil, so oil pressure. So you got, there's a tube in there. So there's oil pressure down there from the pump, which is located here. So that's the pump which goes in this area here, which is the belt. Which this is the clutch case basket. Sorry, and then you got your clutch. You got your drive gear on the back of the basket, which drives the oil pump, and then that essentially puts pressure in these oil galleries here and there, and obviously it pushes oil up here into this little groove here, and then you got a hole there, which this is the output, the output shaft of the gearbox, and then it pushes oil through the actual output shaft itself, which this is the input shaft, but that's, I say, it pushes oil inside. See those little holes? So it pushes oil into the gears as well. So this is where the nerve-wracking bit is. I've always found with engines, it's quite easy rebuilding them. I would say it's a lot easier rebuilding a engine. I know you've got the timing chain, and you've got the conrods, and you've got the pistons, piston rings and stuff, but they're really easy. This is where you get technical on the gear, because you've got certain bearings, and they've got to be pulled on a certain way to allow these oil ways to get into the gearing and lube the gearing, and see how there's different holes in different places. Well, you've got to make sure when you slide the gears back on here that the holes have got to match. So you're so this is what I'm getting at. You're messing with the blood life of that engine. So if you do anything wrong here, like get anything wrong in the gearing, you could lose oil pressure, and you'd have to strip it all down again. So when I said anyone could do it, I'm not too sure. When I think of it now I'm at this stage now, starting it up, and this is the stage where you know, it could be like oil pressure problems. So should we just get started? So I've turned the ignition on a couple of times and primed the fuel in. Usually with injected bikes like this, they just start right up. So keep an eye on your oil pressure. There we go. Okay, so we've got oil pressure straight away, which is good. It sounds good, no rattling, no tapping. Got no leaks. I'm going to let it run up to temperature. I'm not going to give it a rev. Just going to let it idle. Let it do its thing with the clutch, the cold start valve, which is working just fine. No nasty lights. Temperature's going up nicely. So far so good. Bit of a hunt. Probably something to do with this here, because I've had this off. No nasty smoke. I think we've got a successful, well, mind you saying that, we haven't tried the gears yet. Yeah, well, I think I'll move that bike and back it out and I'll give it a ride like this, just up the road and down again, get my gear on. I must remember to tighten up the gear selector actually before I do that. Yeah, seems okay. Right, I'm gonna clear some stuff, take it out. Actually, I'm gonna let it run up to temperature, turn it off, check for any seeping leaks or anything like that, and then I'm gonna take it for a spin, and then I'll continue the video at the end to let you know that we've got fourth gear, sorry, now, hopefully. Yeah, see you soon. So, I put it all back together and just pulled over now, just done about 15 miles just to check things over, make sure there's no oil leaks, water leaks. It looked like oil then, just glass. As I was saying it, I panicked. When I first went out without the fairing, there was a bit of an oil leak, and it turned out to be that casing. I didn't torque them on, I just sort of like tightened them on a little bit, so there's a little bit of oil seepage out the bottom. So and it was going on the manifold, on the, not the manifold but the cats, it was going on the sump, dripping on the exhaust, and you could smell oil burning as well. So I was a little bit like, yeah, but there's always teething problems with these sort of things, isn't it? When you do such a, basically a rebuild of an engine near enough, you know what I mean? So the only thing I didn't do is take the con rods out and replace them and the bearings. So and she's riding. I mean, I've not gone fast. I like to run things in and just to make sure everything's fine, before I do give it a little bit of welly. But yeah, she's running absolutely fine, up to temperature, no airlocks in the water. Just what a bike. You know what, I'm so proud, I'm so made up of this bike. It's probably one of the, like, second hand wise, it's one of the cleanest ones I've bought, I think. It really is. I mean, it's not doing much justice in life. It looks so much more better than it does on the camera. She really is a clean, nice, straight bike. I don't like them, I'll be honest. He fitted them, a bit gutted. I think they ruin it. They look sodding awful. Drilled through the fairing. It is what it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't bother. On a new bike, I wouldn't bother because it's a new bike, but on an old one, seriously? You can get these parts, you can buy this fairing. So if you did drop it, you just buy a new fairing. I mean, I know it protects certain things in the tank and that, but they're widely available now, so yeah, I just think it ruins it. But it is what it is. It's a bike, isn't it? It's made. It's there to be ridden. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go for a little blast now at Wales. I might give it a little bit of a bit more welly. And I'll check things over. Yeah, check the water level. Water level's fine. Yes, I'm gonna go and give it a little bit of a blast at Wales. I'm just currently on the 55, is it? 55, yeah. So cool. I'll continue this video when I get back from the ride, and then I'll get it uploaded then, see. So, just got back from a little, it wasn't a long spin. I popped to my dad's and then my mates in Saltney. Just blipped it here and there. And she's running sweet as a nut. Gears are nice and just like, you know, that nice little click that you get up and down. No false neutrals. No nasty play in the jump selector. Temperature's running fine. No oil leaks. No water leaks. Even when I pulled up, I let it run to temperature. I think it's 95 degrees Celsius, and the fan kicked in. Because you know, when the fan kicks in, you know it's well, not at its hottest, but for this time of year, standing still, you know, it's going to be quite a lot of pressure in the water pipes, and if anything's going to pop off or burst or gasket go or something, I'd rather it go while I can, you know, while I'm at home, rather than on the motorway or such. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it, to be fair. I think it's took me about 2 days, if you add up, maybe 2.5 days at a real push, for 3 days. But when it was off, I cleaned, you know, the fork, the backswing arm, stuff like that, and I gave the engine a good clean afterwards as well, even if it was clean, but I gave it a good clean. And just, you know, silly little things. This is just me, this is my character, but you know what I mean, I clean these bolts here just to give that nice clean look, you know. Well, I had the bolts off, I just you know, clean them all up and that, and clean these up as well. And just a general clean of the wheels while it was on the ramp, and just to get to places you can't get to normally while the engine's in the way. So I cleaned all inside the frame, cleaned the radiator, yeah, and all the spokes and the wheels and everything. So, but yeah, she's running absolutely sweet as a nut now, so yeah, really pleased, happy with the handling. So much more different riding than this Z10R. It's like a different bike, it's so much lighter around the bends and stuff, so it feels just completely different. When I get back on that, it's going to feel weird. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and till the next little project that I have, I'll see you soon.